I saw Amsterdam, and this is an all-star cast with a great script, honestly. Uh, Pretty good storytelling. It's a period piece, and as it reminds you in the first seconds of the movie, a lot of it actually happened. Um, so yeah, I'll
Really?
just say it. I like this movie. Um,
You like a good period piece?
Generally, I don't. I've been really annoyed with them lately, but it was um, it was an interesting period of time, and the points that it makes are really good. And with any period piece that comes out, you always have to ask yourself, why are they taking us back there now? And I
Mhm.
actually think that this was like a relevant movie, and the comments that I got from it, like the take that I felt like it was making was, war will bring people together and show them the humanity. We don't need to go to war to recognize each other's humanity. And at the same time, there's these just everyday people who form these real relationships. They feel like real people. Um, in a world where like all these like they stumble upon this conspiracy for a one world government and the Nazi regime right as the Nazis are getting into power in Germany, and they have these supporters in America. It's
Which is true, right? Like there was, this is historically accurate to that some degree, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the acting is really good, with the exception of one particular person,
Who?
and we'll get to it. The
Okay.
writing was good, the storytelling was great, and what was cool about it is that it wasn't a predictable, beginning, middle, end thing. There's actually all these deviations where you start watching something happen, and you have the voiceover telling you the story, and then you have to have certain flashbacks, or you have to explain or justify certain things. Um, and so it's almost like just having a conversation with these characters where, oh, by the way, this is what happened, and you get the whole story, but it's very natural. The flow of it is just, it's different than a lot of movies I've seen, and it has modern pacing. So it's a long movie, but it's not slow. I liked it.
Okay. All right. Sounds
I
good.
get, I got a question. Sorry, Roland,
Sure.
you were, go ahead.
No.
I was gonna ask, so the cast for this movie is absolutely stacked. I mean,
Hmm.
you got obviously like the main three. You have Margot Robbie, John David Washington, and Christian Bale. But then you have like I think Taylor Swift is in this, and
Yeah.
there's Robert De Niro. There's I think we saw Zoe Saldana on screen earlier. There's and that's probably even that is scratching the surface. And David O. Russell, he's an Academy Award-winning director. I mean, he's known as somebody that talent kind of gravitates to. So
Hmm.
to that end, I mean, how much of this movie felt like an ensemble cast, or was it more like the story was still focused on, see, on the posters you have these three people like John David Washington,
Yeah.
Margot Robbie, and Christian Bale, or was it truly an
What was
ensemble kind of a
what
film?
was so refreshing about it is that the main three really just felt like regular people, and they were playing regular people, relating in some of the most human ways, in the most inhumane times. It was really just like a beautiful portrait of relationships that can genuinely emerge. With some of the other characters, you know, there are little cameo type appearances. Mike Myers and Michael Shannon together are hilarious, but it's not about it being them.
Hmm.
It's, and that's what I hate so much about ensemble casts, is that you get these shots when then they sort of look at the camera and they go, "Yeah, by the way, it's me," and I hate that. And this was not that. Everybody was there to be the character that they were, except Taylor Swift. She should
Ah,
not have been in this movie. She should not
dang.
act. Uh, and on that note, Harry Styles, all pop stars, stay out of television and movies. Do music. You're fine at that, depending on how much you actually do, because you have producers and all that stuff and songwriters and who knows. But stay out of movies. You can't act. It's there on display. Everybody can see it. We know you're a face, you're a voice, but you can't bring a real character to life. And that's my little gripe there. Outside of that, did Robert De Niro need to be in it? No. He carried that off fine. Chris Rock also didn't need to be in it. But I thought it was nice to see him in, a serious role. He still brought his Chris Rockiness to it.
It kind of reminded me of Fargo. Like from seeing trailers and stuff like that. That kind of, because he was in the Fargo TV show, wasn't he?
He was. They did like because it's basically an anthology now, right? Like so there was like an iteration of the show where he was like one of the featured characters.
Yeah, but it's like the movie moved along beautifully. There's twists, and Rami Malek and Anya Taylor-Joy, they were really, really well cast and acted their parts beautifully. I gotta say, like, I hope a lot of people see it because I felt this is one of those feel-good movies. I felt good walking out of the theater.
I didn't even realize that was Anya Taylor-Joy until I was like, wait, is that her? She looks totally different from this angle.
She's always changing her hair color.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I was like throwing up like, who is that?
Yeah. So there's a whole like mystery that's going on. Would you say that, or that's what I read, I don't know. Would you say that it kind of came to a good close? Like it was kind of just wrapped in a bow, or like how would you describe the ending? Your feelings towards it mainly.
I thought it ended nicely. I thought it ended realistically. It wasn't your Hollywood ending. It was my two friends who were in love with each other ran away and lived their lives. And I wish I had gone with them, but he didn't. And he tried to find his own life. And that's the true story of a lot of veterans from World War I. They were left marred, disfigured, and sort of rejected by society because it didn't know what to do with them. And he had to find a place of his own, and he may have struggled with that. We don't know. But I found that to be realistic and refreshingly so. And he still has an appreciation for the relationship that he formed with these people.
That's good. I like that.
What are people saying?
Oh, I don't like nothing crazy, like nothing too elaborate. It was just reading into things, writing down questions. Because I didn't have time to watch it this weekend. I really wanted to ever since I saw the trailer because it looked very fun and exciting. And then
it was.
He did some like really cool movies like Silver Lining Playbook, American Hustle, which I enjoyed.
I was surprised Bradley Cooper didn't make any appearance in this, actually.
I know.
Yeah, he's like he's one of those staples for David O. Russell at this point. Yeah.
Also did Fighter, which I didn't even realize. Speaking of what other people are saying. Vibe.
Sorry,
I was saying that he also did The Fighter, which is another Christian Bale movie that he did, which is just like very different vibe. So it was interesting.
Yeah, Christian Bale, the character was unlike anything I'd seen him do before, and I really liked these people. I haven't liked characters in a very long time. These were very likable people.
I just wanted to briefly touch upon this because it's on screen and it is something that you hinted at, Andrew, earlier. The audiences seem to like it. I mean, 62% isn't exactly very encouraging, especially when you're looking at only like just a little over 250 reviews, it seems like, verified. So it's not like it's 100,000 reviews that they're going off of, but that number is, could be a lot higher. Usually you see like, I think for Don't Worry Darling, the score was in the high 80s and the critic score was in the 30s or 40s. But the critics here
so much
are
better
sitting
than
at
Don't Worry Darling. I can't
33.
Oh my God.
Well, speaking of Amsterdam, though, like it's 33% from the critics, and this is 168 reviews when you're looking at it. It's not encouraging.
Are people even listening to the critics anymore? They've been so out of touch for so long. What possible problem do they have with this?
I don't know. Okay, so I'll go through what they're saying.
Scroll down.
Well, here's the
Why
consensus. It
not?
says the Amsterdam is a bunch of big stars and a very busy plot, all of which amounts to painlessly less than the sum of its dazzling parts. So that's the consensus. Let me find out what some of the reviews themselves are saying. Here we go. So, New York
The
Magazine. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say the Roger Ebert site gave it 1.5 stars, saying it was simultaneously
Ooh,
overstuffed and undernourished, frantic and meandering. Amsterdam is one big star-studded hot mess of a movie.
wow. Okay.
It
Well,
deviated in structure from everything that we see, and it didn't spoon feed you everything. But at the same time, it wasn't overly obscure. It was different, and it was refreshing, and it was human.
Yeah.
I
I
I
guess
I
they said
think
that their big problem is that they didn't care for the flashbacks. It was too confusing for them. And the grand finale gives us some interminable, Treasley, I don't even know what that word is, narration explaining the importance of love and kindness over the film's images of Bohemian Rhapsody we'd just seen not too long ago.
okay. Well, I think the
I
theme,
don't
if
know.
I've read a few, I've skimmed through some of these reviews that are on Rotten Tomatoes, and it seems like the theme is for the people who are criticizing it as not being a good film, is it sets up a good premise, but then it becomes a little too convoluted, and then they overstuff it with too many cameos. That seems to be like the
It's not too
reason why.
convoluted. Pay attention. It's a good movie.
I look, I guess sometimes I do wonder myself, like when I watch a movie and I'm like, this was fantastic, masterpiece. But then I see these kind of reviews, I'm like, clearly a lot of these people like uh, it just kind of went over their heads, or they just had
I
a
guess
completely
so.
different view of it. Like that's what I feel like sometimes that happens. It seems like maybe this is one of those movies that people will
This is
probably
why we
come to
keep
liking.
having stupid movies made.
Yeah. They did say
It's
that
your fault.
they liked the chemistry going on and there was some very entertaining scenes, but then negative stuff
And
all
there's
the
a
time.
good review here from Rolling Stone where it says Russell, to his everlasting credit, David O. Russell, that is the director, has made a film in which cockeyed optimism at this moment in the world somehow feels like a radical act. And I don't know
I
if he's
agree.
referring to like the real world or like World War II, pre-World War II era.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is like when you ask yourself, why are they making this period piece now? And usually what it's been is people trying to make points about how things have actually always been and now things need to change. And that's like this wasn't a political movie. It was about humans and it was about humanity and how to find your place in a society that kind of doesn't want you to exist. And the a true genuine happy relationship between people. And it wasn't he didn't have like this big romance. It wasn't every Hollywood story. I do think that it's relevant now in a way that a lot of movies are just missing it. It's the opposite of She-Hulk. Like it showed a lot of real human interaction, and made points that last throughout the 20th century, but are still relevant today. I think it did a good job of bringing us, showing us that things have always been a certain way, but not in a way that's like things absolutely need to change. We need to revolt and strike and figure. And it wasn't that. It was people are always going to be people, and even in the most inhumane times, you can find humanity. I think
Yeah.
that's a really nice, optimistic message.
Okay.
So there. Great movie. Go see it. Don't get distracted. Watch the movie. I liked it. Let's move on. Let's just keep the show going
Yeah.
because
Might
I
as
could
well.
defend this thing to my grave,
I
and
mean,
I
would
will.
you just because I know what you're gonna say, but just for the sake of it, let me ask: would you recommend this to somebody who wants to go to a theater and watch this? Because you can watch this movie, you
Yeah.
can watch Don't Worry, Darling, The Woman King, Avatar re-release, yeah, from
Out of
No, you
2009.
don't have to watch that. You don't have
out
to
of
watch
Would,
that.
every single one of the ones you mentioned, I would say this is one of the better ones. See this one instead.
Yeah.
Um,
oh, that happened. Sorry about
get
that.
back here, Roland.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so please go see it. Tell me what you think because I think more people should see it. Thanks for watching this, and be sure to subscribe on all of the things: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, all the podcast stuff, Instagram, TikTok. We're on Instagram and TikTok. We make reels, and we tell you to watch the show here. Be there, or be square.